The only vibe was boring. I was probably bored and I just felt like it was boring. I definitely had a better time making my favorites video. It's not as fun being mean to book after book after book. It's making me feel bad. Hello, my name's Sam. Welcome to my channel. So I just did a 50 favorite books of all time, and I figured I would do my least favorite books. I'd say it's definitely more common for me to love a book than to hate a book. So I don't have as many. I have about 25 that I felt worth it to put on this list. I don't know if it's because I just know my taste really well or I'm not like very critical, but that doesn't mean that all books are safe. So here are the ones that didn't cut it. I don't know. And I'm so happy if you loved some of these books. There's definitely a book for everybody. These ones just weren't for me, but I can see why they might have been for you. I organized these lowest rated on Goodreads to highest rated so we can see my opinion go from popular to unpopular. The first being Find Me by Andre Aciman, the companion novel to Call Me By Your Name that nobody wanted, which is really just 3.5 short stories where everybody dates someone half or twice their age and nobody is capable of having a normal conversation. Everyone Knows Your Mother is a Witch by Rivka Galkin. The title is pretty self-explanatory. Set in the 1600s, an older woman is accused of being a witch and has to get out of being burned at the stake or something. I can't remember. Nothing happened in here. I think it was trying to be one of those all vibes, no plot kind of books, but it was unsuccessful in my opinion. The only vibe was boring. Wilder Girls by Rory Power. YA horror. This school for girls has been under quarantine for the last 18 months from this tox that's causing all this body horror. The plot was great. The execution wasn't. I don't really remember any distinguishing things about any of the characters or about anything in the book really. At least the cover's beautiful. Listen to the Marriage by John J. Osborne. This couple is separated and goes to marriage counseling, and that's it. Perfect if you ever wanted to be a fly on the wall in a marriage counselor's office, which I don't see why you would. Girl, Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. A very generic self-help book that was tone deaf, had a sprinkle of fat shaming, and if you don't succeed, you're just lazy kind of attitude, and a very bizarre story about how she had an awful boyfriend that, plot twist, turned out to be her husband. The Atlas 6 by Olive E. Blake. 6 people with unique magic enter this secret society, but only 5 will make it to the end. Perfect if you want a book that is trying to be smarter than it is, where the magic system makes no sense, where all of the plot points are either not explained or not explored, and all of the characters are pretentious and annoying. My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. A girl goes on vacation with her brother and finds a dead body in their rental. Cue burly bounty hunter to come save the day. Some of these are on the list because they pissed me off, and some I can just recognize that they were terrible books. This is the latter. I am not mad at it, but every interaction between these two characters was just dumb. Admittedly comical, but still dumb. After the Flood by Cassandra Montag. Most of the world is flooded and everybody lives on boats. Years ago, Myra's husband sailed off with their older daughter, and she has been sailing around for years with her younger daughter looking for them. The first book on this list, set on the water, where the main character is very unhinged and makes really stupid decisions. Neon Gods by Katie Robert. This is a Persephone and Hades retelling that is basically just 400 pages of all smut and no plot. You might as well just pick up some really good fanfic. Her Pretty Face by Robin Harding. 2 women become friends and one is secretly evil or something. I honestly couldn't tell you anything about this book other than that I didn't like it and I was probably bored, and I wasn't going to put it on this list because I couldn't remember anything, but I think that fact qualifies it. You Are Not Alone by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. You know when you finish a book and you think, wow, how did the author interweave these elements so perfectly and connect this plot and this and that so perfectly? Well, this was the opposite. This was like World's Dumbest Criminals, which would be like a funny satirical book, but I don't think was the point of this one. The Yellow Envelope by Kim Denan. A self-congratulatory travel memoir where the author convinces her husband to sell all their stuff, leave their life behind, and travel the world, only to spend half the memoir talking about how she's mad that he came. True Crime Story by Joseph Knox. I was so prepared to love this one because it's mixed media, fiction written like nonfiction, and I did really like that element, but everything else kind of fell flat. Basically, a college student goes missing and it's interviews with her friends, boyfriend, and twin sister to try to piece together what happened. Everyone is an unreliable narrator and the ending was really stupid. The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. A bride and groom get food poisoning at their wedding and can't go on their honeymoon, so their respective siblings go instead. Read this if you want an enemies to lovers book that is really just a bad first impression, or a female main character that is constantly getting shit on, or a male love interest that does a lot of gaslighting. Because You're Mine by Rhea Frey. One of those everyone has a secret and now someone is dead books. I don't know if this was supposed to be a thriller or a suspense or a mystery because it wasn't thrilling or suspenseful, and all of the reveals were very predictable and had me rolling my eyes. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. This is the first of 3 classics on this list. I think I was expecting this one to be like the movie, but with extra detail and description, but it wasn't. It was exactly like the movie, just with all of the excitement taken out. The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Now the opinions are starting to get unpopular. So I know that this was written by a teenager in 1967, and I think if I read it in 1967, I would have loved it, but I read it in 2022, and I just felt like it was boring and basic, like it was written by a teenager in 1967. Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey. In a world where 80% of plant and animal life is extinct, a woman who is sad about her past, even though she is completely to blame for it, wants to watch the last migration of the Arctic tern, and she convinces this fishing boat ship to let her on, and they do, even though she is completely unhinged. I couldn't with this main character. She made the most ridiculous decisions, and her character, I think, was solely responsible for my dislike of the book. The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. YA dystopian where they believe women are magic, so they exile them for a year to get rid of the magic, and when they come back, those who haven't died are purified and ready for marriage. I really liked the sound of this plot, but that was pretty much where me liking it stopped. It was really tropey. The main character was all, I'm not like other girls, and it had some twists that I didn't enjoy. Unfollow by Megan Phelps Roper. A memoir about leaving the Westboro Baptist Church, a church that is known for picketing funerals and celebrating tragic events. This girl who is a part of this group that does really shitty things and is really terrible to a lot of people is then aghast when those same people then start being shitty and terrible to her. The Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez. You know the trope where one of the main characters blatantly lies to hurt the other one so they'll end the relationship even though they love them and they don't want the relationship to end, instead of just telling the truth and talking about it? Yeah, I hate that trope. As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. Pip has always been the one to solve the mysteries, but is now the one getting the threats. This is the 3rd book in the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, and I can respect where Holly Jackson wanted to take this story, but after following Pip for 2 books, it just felt like too aggressive of a change for me. And I know some people absolutely love this book and some people absolutely hate it. Dune by Frank Herbert. Paul and his family leave their planet for a dust planet for reasons that I can't remember. I know this is an unpopular opinion and I recognize that I am too dumb for this book. There were just too many words. It was like not enough happened and also too much happened, and I was very confused the whole time and I just wanted it to be over. The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. The 3rd book in the Poppy War series, another last book in a series that was so disappointing for me. Again, I can recognize what R.F. Kuang was trying to do with this one. It just felt like the ending made the entire book pointless. Like it went against the whole point of the book, of the whole things that the book was trying to say. And I still absolutely love the series. I just really didn't like the end. Okay, my last book on this list is arguably my most unpopular opinion because it was the highest rated book out of all of these, and it is definitely my least favorite on this whole list, and that is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I could rant about this book for a really long time, but I'll try to keep it succinct. The whole point of this book is to make it sad. You're following these 4 friends for 800 pages of the tiniest font I've ever seen, and the whole point is for Jude to have a shitty life. And he does. He has the shittiest life you will ever read about, and I just didn't care. It was just bad thing after bad thing after bad thing, and I just didn't care. I was desensitized. I was reading some horrible stuff, and I could not have cared less about anything that was going on because it just kept going and going and going. And there's every trigger warning under the sun for this, and also I felt like the disability rep for Jude was absolutely horrible. So it's my least favorite book of all time, I would say. I'm really sorry if you loved it, and I'm happy that you did love it. I just did not. All right, there you have it. Those are my least favorite books of all time. Again, if you loved any of these, I'm so happy that you did. I'm glad that these books found their audience. It just wasn't me. So thank you for watching, and if I see you again, I see you again. Bye.